Hey everybody, it's Pastor Marty right here at Christ Driven Church. Thank you for being part of our Fearless Church. I want to say thank you so much to Carol's production with Brother Jose and Sister Laura that are helping us with our podcast about Lahaina. With me is
Pastor Kealoha. Happy to be here again.
So we want to talk to you today about some of the things. We've done two videos on the things that are happening in Lahaina. Myself, I am a Polynesian. I'm from Hawaii. We are, our last names are Ka'olilapono. And so here in the mainland, in Central California, we've done everything we can do to reach out to those that are in Maui and what we can get information and things like that. And so I want to start out real quick in this video. I want to reference this video right here. Listen to the frustration that's going on with these people in Maui, in Lahaina, and what's happening. And again, they are frustrated, so bear with maybe some of the things that are said, but look what's happening right here. Look at this.
We busted our ass, and this is what we get. Nobody called us. Our phones didn't work from 5 in the morning. The fire was not 10 o'clock when I went to work. The fire was still there. There was no water. Tell me if that's coincidence. No water, no warning. And everybody talking about the satellite city before the fire. Lahaina going to be the first satellite city. Well, hey, Jeff Bezos, you got what you wanted. Oprah, you got what you wanted. Oh, wow. And the guy who owns the nut, you got what you wanted. Us all over. That's what happened. Okay. We need help in Lahaina. Who's going to come now and ask us, can I pray for you, Auntie?
Thank you.
Can I help you with your paperwork? Because all we got so far was $700, and we don't know who to call or anything. It's culturally insensitive in that zone.
Today, we're talking about the call from Congress to investigate.
By the way, this here is this guy is a wealth of information. What's going on there? Yeah. Also, Eric West with Hawaii Real Estate. If there's any way we can get connected together, we would love to partner with you here in Central California. Again, we both are pastors at Christ Driven Assembly of God Church right here in Central California. And
we care about the truth and what's happening.
I moved from Hawaii right around 93, 94 when I came here to California. And so really we're just, our hearts are just really been impacted by this. If you go back and look at our first couple videos and things that have been talked about. But as this stuff develops every day, one of the things that just really, it breaks your heart that this is happening to our country.
It does.
Is when you look at Palestine, East Ohio, East Palestine, Ohio, you look what's happening there. It's just all these things that happen, like a train filled with chemicals wrecks, has a train wreck in this small town, not outside of it, not before, but right in the town. As we've referenced, all these food producing plants burning to the ground. When we see what's happening in Canada and Washington burning to the ground, when we goes back to Paradise, California, the whole city burnt to the ground. We look at what's happening and the way the management's going on, not only in our leadership here in California, but across the United States. Yeah. What's happening to our country is not by happenstance. No, it's the Great Reset. If you'll look at every one of your elitists, they have one mantra: build goal. Back better. Yeah. And so we're just want to reach out to Lahaina and tell you we're praying for you. This is our third week we've taken asked people to offer, to give, donate, and we're looking for that right position, and we think we've found that, but we're going to find out for that. In fact, there's a couple in Lahaina named Dave and Linda who own the Papi Bakery, Papi Ohana Bakery, and they're serving, just last night, they are serving pizzas out of their kitchen and trying to feed and all of these people that are in need. The fire missed them, so they're using, this Christian couple are using their opportunity to be a blessing. In fact, CBS did a report on them, and I don't know if we can reference that, if we can go to that, you guys, do you have that? Go ahead, let's play that right there.
Water and supplies, all to be trucked into West Maui, where access is very scarce, and we went along.
So we came over here last few days, established connections with
all of the restaurants.
These are the locals
and the food
doing
trucks
this.
That were already
We're going to get more into that.
cooking food
FEMA
for
and
people
Red
for
Cross.
free.
We're out here in West
They're
Maui,
scamming you.
where some of the most isolated communities are out here in much needed supplies and food. And this is what we're seeing. Everyone coming together, sharing the spirit of aloha.
We are
This is
here
Dave
to be
and
the
Linda.
light,
They have this
here to
bakery
be a
there.
hope, here to show
Folks in our
for
church are
community
friends
that's
with
lost
these folks.
everything, loved ones, animals, pets. There is hope. It doesn't end here. This is just our Friday. We're waiting for our Sunday morning, okay? But with everybody helping in and being God's hands and feet, this is how we're going to come out strong.
And it is that hope and strength that Chef David and wife Linda of Poppy's Ohana continue to share even in a time of tragedy.
And we're just gonna do whatever we can to just feed the community, be the light, and show hope, man, because we know that this is a disaster. But God can turn ashes into beauty.
That's right. That's right.
And while
That's,
there are
you know,
hundreds of Lahaina
when we see what's
evacuees,
happening over there, we know for a fact that FEMA is staying in the $1,300 a night hotels a night, where the families of Lahaina have gotten $700 per family, not per person. And so
We heard that lady complaining about that.
It's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
And FEMA is destroying and burying the things that are coming over there. They're telling you it's not. Josh Green, I just want to speak right now to the people of Lahaina. If somehow, some way, Eric West gets hold of our stuff at Hawaii Real Estate, if someone can tell them this, there are people in California, people that we know that want to know the right way to
Yes.
help you.
We
We
wanna know the
want
right
to know
way.
the right way. But we want to tell you people, don't give up. This is part of the Great Reset. This is part of everything the elitists have been trying to do. And I know you know that now. But I want to say this to each and every one of you. Lahaina, you may vote red the next time, but Hawaii's going to go blue again. And if you look at Hawaii, if you look at Detroit, you look at San Francisco, Los Angeles, Chicago, Philadelphia, you name the major cities, New York, you're going to see the devastation across our country of what Democrat policies have done. We are pastors standing in a day and age where we're no longer going to just stand there and hide under our Bible. We're going to stand with our Bible and speak for righteousness.
People need at least a chance to know the truth.
The Bible has called us specifically to stand against evil.
Yes.
To expose those deeds of darkness to the
Amen.
glorious light
That's
of the
right.
gospel. That's what we're called to do. And so I know there's pastors out there that don't have the same, they just, well, you want to hide under a Bible instead of standing on the Word of God. And I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to you people in Hawaii, in Maui, in the city of Lahaina.
Yeah.
Do what you can do to vote these people out and get these people out of office. Your governor is an elitist Democrat.
Yep.
Your mayor, Bisson, is a Democrat. If you look across the landscape, every single person who is controlling and doing these things are of the Democratic Party. When you look at the chemtrails that have been floating all down on this island to put that all of this aluminum and stuff in the wildfires, you know, we address that conspiracy theory. And I want to say this again, because it goes without, it just needs to be repeated. If you want to accuse me of wearing a tin hat, I'll wear it proudly, because here's why. Let's go back to 2020 when all the churches shut down. Everything got shut down. We didn't. This church stayed open. People say, well, Pastor Marty, you're a little church. No one really noticed you guys. Let me tell you where we're at. We're located 500 feet off the 99 freeway, right here next to Fresno, California.
On one of the main streets in
On the
Selma.
main street. We're on Main Street. And the next exit in 2020 was closed down due to infrastructure. So that means our CHPs, all of our city workers, every person, sheriff's department, local police, they had to come right past the front of our church.
Yep.
In fact, we might put just a picture of our location and how we are. But if you look us up, you'll see we're right on one of the main exits. So it wasn't like we're hidden. And I had pastors in this community call me and said, Pastor Marty, how are you staying open? I said, because we refuse to close. I want to tell you this. We took a hard one on the chin. I did. We took a hard one on the chin. We're called murderers. And now we know that we were right. There wasn't a conspiracy, because the FDA just came out 2 weeks ago and said the cure for for COVID is ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine, exactly what they forbid us to be able to take. So we know that that wasn't a truth. We know that Fauci lied about all that.
Yep.
So just looking at these things, understand this. This is a planned thing that they're doing, and we don't have time to get into all of that type of information,
Nope.
but I want you to know this. And I like what the gentleman whose video we're gleaning from today. He says this: if the elitists wanted to be if they wanted to be special, if they wanted to do something for Lahaina, why doesn't Oprah, Jeff Bezos, or any of these millionaires and billionaires
donate, fix it, get it working again?
Why don't they come out
Just flood it in.
and just say, we refuse to buy anything in Maui.
Yes.
We want to donate and fix, and we will
Fix
have
it.
nothing to do with it.
Get it back to
we'll
the
sign
locals.
documents and say, we
right.
have nothing to do with this. We will not put $1 into trying to possess that land. But it's like I was in staff this morning. I was talking to you guys, and I said, do you know who the biggest farmer in America is? And they looked at me with a blank stare, and I said, it's Bill Gates. Bill Gates is buying thousands upon thousands of acres of farmland to control the farming industry and the food intake and outgo in our country. This is happening across the world, and no one's seems to be doing or championing this cause at the way you would think it would be happening by the millions.
Only a few people are actually focused on this.
And so, but anyways, why don't you let that roll, and let's see what this gentleman has to say. You have that video? There you go. Let's go right. Right there. I want to see that part with this pastor. Go ahead and play it.
Since CNN certainly is not happy seeing good people trying to uncover the truth.
Did you know that there are 2 sites in the U.S. that have these directed energy weapons?
We spoke about that in video
one.
one.
Is Nevada and the other is Maui. Let's start with this directed energy Air Force Maui optical and supercomputing AMOS site located on the island of Maui. May I quote from the website? Listen to this. Directed energy harnesses the power of the electromagnetic spectrum to enable airmen to effectively and affordably strike critical targets at the speed of light.
Mm. The speed of light.
Question.
We can stop
Why
that now.
Maui?
Now here's the
Answer.
thing. We can say anything we want about conspiracy. That term came famous back in '63 when John F. Kennedy President Kennedy was assassinated with Magruder Films, and everybody started coming up with this, wait a minute, this magic bullet routine and this finding a pristine bullet on the floorboard of the motorcade and one laying on another bullet laying right on the stretcher with the president, undamaged. And we know we're all gun owners. We know ballistics. We know what happens to these bullets when they penetrate anything, even soft tissue. And so, and here there's, in other words, you could see that. Well, 60 years later, we find out, yes, all of that was. In fact, I just watched an interview over the weekend on Fox, and it was Jimmy Fallon who was interviewing Sammy the Bull Gravano. He used to be a hitman for the mafia. And he compared what Biden's administration and what's happening in this country. He says, the mafia is like Boy Scouts to what they're doing today. He said, we're like Boy Scouts. He says, the organized crime, at least we took care of our communities, we took care of people. He says, yes, there's crime involved. We're not painting them as any type of saviors at all. But the point is that he said their level of crime and evil makes them look like beginners. And so I thought that was pretty bold for somebody like an ex or an old mafia hitman to say things like that and put a comparison to those type of things and with what's happening today. So, we wanted you to know this. We wanted you to see that. And by the way, next week, hopefully we can connect with our friends in Hawaii and maybe share the podcasting with them there at Papi Ohana Bakery with Dave and Linda. Hopefully we can get them on the program.
And also, how Pastor said, folks, we know you're going through a lot out there in Hawaii, but don't give up. Stand your ground. Do what you have to help fellow Ohana. Yeah.
Please understand, we're saying that without even having a clue what you're going through.
Right.
I've never had in my whole life total devastation. I realize the president has. You know, I realized that he almost lost his cat and he almost lost his Corvette. And so I'm sure that you can all feel his pain of a small kitchen fire that almost got his Corvette and his cat. But we don't know that kind of pain. I can't even imagine, you know, being into 21 days of this, I think 21 days we're in since the fire of August 8th, that this devastation, and to go, you know, what it would be like. I like what Tulsi Gabbard said. She says on Fox News when this just happened and she had been there in Lahaina, she says they're not worried about the future. They're just worried about tomorrow. Because it's one thing to have flood damage and all this stuff, or hurricane or tornado, whatever it might be. But when you look at Lahaina, lives that are missing, children that no one can account for. You know, as a pastor, I know enough about cremation to know that the body's cremated, then they crush the body, what's left, and they pulverize it. These fires were devastating, but they would have trace and know where all these bodies are. They'd be able to find these, a big majority of them. But they're stuck on 114 lives right now. And we know there's more than that. So they're lying to us. When you look at what they did, how they trapped and blocked both ends of Lahaina off, and people that got free were turned around to go back into the fire by the police department. And when you look at the chief of police, he says that never happened, but we have it on film. We showed that in film podcast number 2 of people going, oh, we're out. We see blue sky. And the cops go, turn around and go back. So we know that was happening. They can't lie about these things. We know that within 4 days, judges were signing paperwork for landowners to evict people out of their homes that didn't get fire damage. You got to go too. We know if you watch this video, you will see that they're polluting, the water's polluted and everything. So I want to do that right now. Just kind of let some of this roll and let's see what's going on here.
It's a new smart
video.
grid in Hawaii dubbed the, quote, Jump Smart Maui project.
One coincidence is that this is perhaps the largest land grab in U.S. history.
2 years ago, the average price of an American home was $215,000. Today, 2 years later, it's $400,000. The interest rates
doubled
during that same period have gone from 1% to 7%. So that home is going to cost him 10 times what it would cost somebody 2 years ago. Most of us know people who were about to buy a home. They were ready to do it, and at the last moment, somebody comes in with a cash offer and scoops it out from under them. We've all heard those stories. Why is that happening? BlackRock. There's 3 companies: BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street. And those 3 companies, which all own each other, so it's really one huge behemoth, also own 88% of the S&P 500. And now they have a new target, which is to gain ownership of all the single-family residences in this country. And they are on a trajectory to do that.
Is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. onto something here? Let's look. Who owns Maui? After the state of Hawaii, who owns 154,000 acres on Maui, Alexander and Baldwin is the second largest landowner at over 65,000 acres, and the U.S. government, they're the third largest landowner at over 33,000. Okay, so let's take a look at the investors who are behind Alexander and Baldwin. BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street. Interesting. Those are the exact same 3 he just named.
I wanted to say that I was deeply moved by the president as he shared with us by phone about his experiences of loss. The president, within 6 hours.
This governor gets up there and says how deeply he was moved by his empathy for the Hawaiian people of Lahaina because he almost lost his Corvette and a cat. These people are insane. This is the insane running the asylum. He's a bumbling old man that lays on a beach. He left Lahaina, flew back, and went on vacation in Lake Tahoe with one of his billionaire friends.
This country voted for.
While Lahaina is in all this peril. That man right there on that screen, him and his wife came right back to California, went to Lake Tahoe, and he's still there. He's there today. He's on vacation again. Remember, this president has spent 300 and I think 60 something days now on vacation. That's a year, and he's only been the president 2 years and 8 months. So that means nothing's getting done in this country except for damage. And let me tell you something. It would take a genius, so I guess I'm calling him a genius, because it would take a genius to destroy this country
this fast.
In a year. It was destroyed again in 22. We're in 23 going through, and look what's happening with
worse.
The wokeness and the just the schools and the pedophilia that's happening and the sex trafficking and the borders.
You can't hardly walk outside.
But again, this is about Lahaina. Lahaina, we want to tell you,
right.
Vote these people out of office and get rid of them. They're lying to you, and hopefully Honolulu, or hopefully Oahu, and hopefully Hawaii, and hopefully, Lanai, and all the rest of them, and all of the island chain, they will just bond together and get rid of this area. Just look across the United States and know this is all democratically run, and they keep blaming Donald Trump, who was only president 4 years. Joe Biden's been in there almost a half a century. He's been in there 45 years.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the condition. Pelosi's and the people like that have been in charge. We need to get rid of this situation.
Been in government so long and done nothing.
I'm telling you, turn that state back to red and get some conservative values in there and get these people out of that place that are trying to destroy, this beautiful homeland of the Hawaiian people.
Yeah, and also obviously pray that God gets a hold of these people's hearts, because they're psychos. And they're psychos. But Lord God, help these crazy Democrats find Jesus.
It's mind-boggling to me. Let's go ahead and let's watch some more of this. Listen to Governor Green.
6 hours met our needs with the federal movement.
Federal government met the needs in 6 hours.
I don't think that's
It's
ever
not there
happened
right now.
before.
Nope.
So it's our deepest appreciation to you and Dr. Biden.
Governor Josh Green just said the president met his needs. Because what we've been seeing reported from the locals in Hawaii is that their needs certainly were never met. In fact, on my last video, we heard how FEMA intentionally withheld food and water, basic needs, from the survivors of the Lahaina fire. And speaking of water and FEMA, now survivors in Maui have this to deal with.
We're experiencing now an issue with the water supply. We're being told that the water is not safe to drink. It's also not safe after boiling, which is quite frightening. And we don't know how long that these restrictions are going to be lasting on the public. We're also hearing that the potable water being brought in by government officials is making people ill for whatever reason.
That's terrifying.
They're experiencing fevers, chills, and other ailments from drinking this potable water that's been left. So I really urge you guys to please be careful on, ingesting this water and where you're getting it from.
Apparently over 1,000 body bags and mats and containers and refrigerated trucks on the other side of the island right now. The government's trying to blame them. They didn't sound a siren. There was no helicopters that came. People had gone and picked their kids up from school and brought them home and left them home. No warning. No military came. The whole community is mourning the deaths of over 1,500 people. They killed innocent men, women, and children by not helping, by not sounding alarms. People were asleep in their homes with their babies and their children.
Sadly, it's also been reported that as Maui burned, Hawaii's top emergency management officials were at a Waikiki conference. Wow, what are the odds? And guess who was attending this conference? That's right, FEMA's top officials.
Those in attendance were quite literally the who's who of disaster response, both locally and from across the Pacific region. They were gathered in Waikiki for an annual FEMA disaster meeting, a half-hour plane ride away from a wildfire that would become the deadliest in the United States in more than a century. Thousands were unaware they were in the crosshairs of a deadly inferno. That evening, Lahaina town was leveled.
So many people that I know said we never knew anything about the fire.
That same day, several of the country's top emergency management officials
There's where
were
they're staying.
in Hawaii hosting an annual conference. The agenda listed 74 attendees at this year's Pacific Partnership meeting, including FEMA leadership and several members of the Center for Homeland Defense and Security. H&N Investigates confirmed the head of Maui County's Emergency Management Agency, Herman Andaya, was also on hand.
Resigned the next
along with
day,
as many as 6 leaders from the state's Emergency Management Office.
There were consultations about the fires among local, state, and FEMA participants.
We asked both Maui County and the state who was left in charge while those local emergency officials attended the meeting, and at what time they were made aware of the catastrophe unfolding in Lahaina. Despite multiple requests, those questions remain unanswered. Meanwhile, many who experienced the horror of that day firsthand say government failed them by not sounding the emergency sirens.
It's inexcusable, really. It's inexcusable. A lot of people probably could have gotten out.
An opportunity to manage and prevent a real emergency was wasted by a conference jam-packed with people paid and responsible for managing emergencies. Now let's catch this again. We asked both Maui County and the state who was left in charge while local emergency officials attended the meeting, and what time they were made aware of the catastrophe unfolding in Lahaina. Despite multiple requests, those questions remain unanswered. The list of questions that remain unanswered seems to be growing exponentially by the day. There are just way too many things that happened beyond being coincidental or a conspiracy theory. Let's recap. Every emergency official was busy inside of a conference while a real emergency was taking place. 700 gallons of fuel was spilled by the government on Haleakala. Wind speeds being falsely reported. The guy in charge of sounding the warning sirens fails to do so. Literally surrounded by water, we heard the governor of Hawaii, Josh Green, say they didn't have enough water to put out the blaze. The guy in charge of the water, he shut it off, so firefighters were left with nothing. The police barricaded exit points and blocked off the roads. Metal magically liquefied.
Like when you see this, you're just going to be like, breaking, it's going to break science. If you're a scientist, you understand anything about
Hawaii Real Estate. He's one of the locals that are just documenting day by day. Watch this thing. This is a small grass fire with a completely melted car in the middle.
There's an incinerator nearby and they just dropped the car off.
Right, so I'm going to turn the camera on what we're walking up on right now. I want you
See
to
that
notice
spot?
there's a vehicle that's been here since the beginning.
That spot is just a burn spot.
Look at the chair's not melted.
You can see here there's
sitting in the middle.
This is the highest the burn got. This car is basically completely surrounded by gravel. Look at this particular rim. Is it safe to say these are aluminum?
Look at the windshield. What's that?
Are these aluminum?
Yeah, that's cast aluminum wheels.
Cast aluminum wheel, you can see it melted.
And the windshield on the inside?
Look at the windshield. That is a windshield right there that is completely melted. We have some jumper cables in the back of the vehicle. We have some cast aluminum here that's pulverized.
Just dust.
How is that possible for a grass fire that did not come from this direction? Because you can see there's nothing that's been burned over here. What could cause that type of destruction when you have a grass fire on this side that obviously didn't connect? But even if it was a grass fire,
and it's still only half burned. I mean,
yeah, you can see
even
there's
if the fire got
over
there
here that's still standing. It's not even burned.
But you can see the dirt around it. What's they're trying to say?
Right. Yeah.
If you were there, you would understand. I mean, you could see it. It's sitting on its own little burn up.
No. I'm saying even if the fire got there, it can't do that damage.
Everything was burned beyond recognition except any object that was the color blue.
Operation Blue Roof and the FEMA Self-Help Program, while similar, use two different materials, provide temporary protection for the roofs of residential structures damaged during severe weather. The sheeting for Operation Blue Roof are installed by a contractor overseen by the Corps of Engineers according to certain...
Remember what this guardsman said, for severe weather, because hurricanes are going to know your roof is blue, because earthquakes will know your roof is blue, because a terrorist attack will know your roof is blue. No, the only thing that the blue does is it deflects that DEWs.
That laser.
It deflects them. They've showed you, I think we put it on the last video, where they use the laser to go across different pieces of material, and as they go across the different pieces of material, it will not burn the blue material.
It burns everything else.
It burns everybody, won't burn the blue material. Go ahead, carry on. I want to kind of get through this.
Specifications.
Why would it be on the roof?
For the program, you can call
Why would it be on the roof?
Roof Blue. You can go to blueroof.us.
Children were left at home all alone without their parents. The Maui police chief, well, he was brought over from Las Vegas, where he was connected to the deadliest U.S. shooting in history, but then he got a 30% pay raise almost instantly and given not one, but 2 jobs as both the first non-native police chief and the coroner of Maui. Oh yeah, and he's also rapidly collecting the DNA of the deceased Hawaiians. FEMA denied survivors of basic necessities like food and water, while their officials are staying in $1,300 a night luxury rooms at 5-star resorts like the Four Seasons. The fire also just went around all of the millionaires' homes and spared the mansions, but burned everything else to ashes. Just a month before the Maui fire, Hawaii Governor Josh Green, he was a keynote speaker at the United Nations and headed up a panel focusing on sustainable development. He also implemented that emergency order that suspended local zoning, environmental review, and more, and set up a special working group. I want to talk about that just a second, so if we can just pause it right there.
Is real quick.
That's good.
What he's saying is, in July, last month, he made an executive order that he could personally suspend all the permitting and stuff, which means we can bring housing developments in and just get them blasted out. What would be the need for a speed build? Why would you need that? In other words, if you've seen tracts of homes go in where you live, everywhere you live, they go in and they go at a pace that they can get built and permitted, and all the codes and stuff and enforcements go down. But all of a sudden, Josh Green, the governor, he decides, and it is a joke that his last name's Green, climate, but that he would sign a thing up that says, I want to give myself the authority to waive permitting so houses could be just like on a conveyor belt, just get them stamped out. Just little, whatever it is, 1-2 bedroom, whatever it is, stamp these things out, and we are going to waive the permitting process. Now, my point is, why would any governor think on his own time, just kind of wake up or sit around the barbecue and go, you know what I think? I think I want to give myself the power to wipe out permitting for just in case of disasters. Why would that be? I mean, these people say coincidental or conspiracy. Here's my point to that is, why would it be, it just reminds me of anyways, I don't want to get into that, but it goes back to this. Why wasn't it somebody like Gavin Newsom, or why wasn't it some other governor, in DeSantis or another state or wherever? Why Hochul? Why? But it just happened to be the very governor that said we want to build houses as fast as we can, and then the very next month, Lahaina burns down, and they go, now isn't it a good thing we have the opportunity to build houses as fast as we can? It just doesn't sound right. It's kind of like
it don't sound right. It's like we said last time on the last video, they already know we know this information. They don't care.
They don't care.
They'll literally tell you to your face, hey, we did do this to you.
Here's a question. How many prosecutors has Joe Biden ever got fired? How many? One. Ever in his whole 45 plus years of being in power? One. I find that, is it just a coincidence that one prosecutor, Shokin got fired because Joe Biden says, you fire this prosecutor or you're not getting $1 billion. And he gets him fired. Now that guy's come out and saying it's because the United States, because Joe Biden was bribing Burisma. But here's my point is, it's just his son is on that board.
Hunter
Biden, crack addict, dope fiend, probably never even seen the board, but he's getting paid all this money to sit on this board.
To do nothing.
And you can say all you want, there's no proof, there's no evidence. I guarantee you if that's me, that's circumstantial evidence, they'd throw me in prison. If it was him or it was you, they'd throw you in prison for all the stuff that's been found out.
Yeah.
That's my point. My point is this, how is it that this Governor Green happens to do something, let's build houses as fast as we can, give me the power to wave everybody, just tell everybody, start building, start digging in the ground, put houses up. Why would he do that? And the very next month, that same governor goes, man, I'm glad I just passed all that stuff for myself, because now we have to build houses as fast as we can. Unless he knew something was coming. This is a dangerous time. Watch this.
Rapid approval to individual housing projects.
That's what he's talking
about.
The
victims of the Lahaina, Maui, Hawaii fires, they're speaking out. And they're calling out this massive land grab.
I am a teacher, a third grade teacher from the burned down King Kamehameha III Elementary in Lahaina. I am testifying on my concerns of the governor.
He just talks a while.
While he moves forward with his master plot and plan. There's also the tall fences and the black rollout tarps hiding everything from the media and the public. More than half a month has gone by, and all of the children, all of them, they're still missing with no answers or explanations. No identified minors out of 1,054 people still missing. I'm sure I missed something, certainly, but you tell me, does that all seem like just a coincidence and a conspiracy? All right, here's where it gets frustrating.
Your emergency management, why are we managing the emergency? Isn't that what you guys are getting paid for? When that's your job. I see you up there nodding off up there. You're falling asleep on the job, and you have abandoned us in this community. We're a part of Maui. No, I'm not done talking yet. That you abandoned this community. Don't worry, we're covered. We have plenty of water and food right now because our community stepped up.
Yeah,
but you failed us, and we won't forget that.
I mean, this can go on and stuff like that. And that's, if you want to, it's hard for, as a church, this gentleman, his site is Hustle, B-I-T, Hustle Bit. If you want to find that, if you go in there, and he's doing a great job at this, finding the information out. Another one is Eric West with Hawaii Real Estate. If they want to reach out to us, to a California mainland connection, we'd love to do that. Yeah. Also with Dave and Linda there at Papi Ohana Bakery, we would love to connect up and get connected with some of you folks. But just this, my point today was simply this. Please, Hawaii, change. I'm telling you, change your surroundings and get rid of these people. The senator of Hawaii, it's a waste. It just, you need to get these people out of there and turn that state back to red. Yeah. And you know, your electoral power isn't as big as here in California, but every little bit helps. Yes, and this shows you the difference between what would be happening. They ridiculed George Bush because he was at a reading time in an elementary school when 9/11 happened and he went right back to work. They ridiculed Donald Trump because he threw paper towels out at Costa Rica, I think was, where was that? Puerto Rico, I think it was. Anyways, when the big hurricane came through and wiped out that place. But he was actually there and helping and working, and so is Melania. But it's not even the point of that. It's the point that we have a Department of Transportation who takes vacation leave because they adopted a child, him adopted a child, so they took maternity leave together, two men, which, and never went, I mean, by the time, Buttigieg showed up in Palestine, it was way too late. And Joe Biden, who said, I will go there, never did. He never went there to Palestine. So these are the things that are happening across the country. Go on YouTube and just look at the devastation. Look at Tyler Oliveira. Yeah. Look at what he's doing to go into the homeless zones of these major cities and stuff and what's happening. Seattle, the Emerald City now, is destroyed.
It's become the second most dangerous city in the United States.
It's a dangerous place to be in now. And why?
Seattle.
Because of Democratic policies.
Yeah, Seattle's
blue. So this was more of a political thing we wanted to do, to just say, hey, we love you, and we're praying for you here at Christ Driven Church, and want you to know this. This is a trial and tribulation that I can't understand it. I've read about it in history books. I've seen it happen from things like Hitler and Stalin of stuff, but it's affecting you right there in Lahaina. And all we can say is we're praying for you. And
yes, we are.
If we had boots on the ground there, we would be working every day. I just say church is postponed. If you want to have church, come out here and have church, giving things away, helping these people, but we can't. We're not there. And so we're trying to do everything we can do financially to help out. People, I want to say this that are watching, do your homework.
Please.
Do not send to FEMA and Red Cross. And if they ban this video, then you'll know that we're speaking the truth. You get banned, that's because you're telling the truth.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
Well, when you talk about information, Dad, how we just saw that guy tell us all that information.
That's one of thousands.
Yeah. I really liked how he was speaking, and how you'll see a lot of the others will do the same thing. They'll only talk about the things that make sense. Like, just ask the questions. Go to what's actually happening. Is this a coincidence? Is this not? This happened and this happened, and put it together. 2 + 2.
Why is Lahaina fenced off? Why is it all National Guard? Why no one can take pictures? No one, the media can't go in certain areas.
Answer these questions and find truth. So if a lot of you out there don't even believe what we're saying, you have to agree a lot of this stuff is questionable, right?
Why would they want blue on your roofs? So why would that? I don't even understand how they could have anything to do with a natural disaster unless the blue deflected something like a weapon.
Like a weapon.
I don't care if it's conspiracy or not. DUWs exist. We know they exist. And I can tell you the history of this country. I'm 65. I want to tell you the history of this country. You give somebody, we just went and seen, just went out of my head. But anyway, the movie of what's his name who, with the atom bomb. But
Oppenheimer.
Yeah, Oppenheimer. Anyways, with Oppenheimer, and in that movie, when you give our government or any government a toy, they're going to play with it like a child. You give them a weapon, they'll even tell you. Remember in the scene, he goes, so are you telling me if I touch this, we push that red button, we could destroy the world? And they're like, probably not, but it's possible.
It's a chance as close to zero.
But they were willing to take that chance.
What else would you
because
want?
That's just human nature and stuff. So we want to say this in closing.
Yeah.
You guys look up, keep your faith.
Keep your head up. You can do it.
Be strong in the Lord. Maybe this is a time, if those that don't know Jesus, to turn your hearts to God, turn your hearts to Jesus. Know there's a Savior out there that went through a devastating situation himself for the souls of each and every human, past, present, and future. And all we have to do is reach out and grab hold of the hem of his garment.
Amen.
And never let go. Never let go of Jesus.
Keep him in prayer, these people.
We just love you, and we wish we could do more.
Yeah.
And so I hope you stick with us. And we don't have a big base. We're just kind of starting out getting this going on with Fearless Church. And if you want to check this, I don't even want to do the check out our products. And you guys just watch this. And if you guys want to find anything else, you can do it through other videos.
Yeah.
But Lahaina, God bless you.
God bless you.
And may the Lord bless you and keep his hand over you in Jesus' name. Amen. God bless you guys.
God bless.